Hey friends, I wanted to take a minute and share a little bit of my heart and what has brought me to this place of feeling like I want to be prepared. How gardening actually was that gateway into wanting to be prepared and taking steps toward that, and kind of my heart behind it, and why I believe it is a wise thing to do. And that's kind of what I'm going to share a little bit about today. And I'm going to start with a couple of scriptures that have kind of been the heart behind what I'm trying to do, why I'm trying to do it. For example, in Proverbs 31, verses 15, it says, "She rises well as yet night and provides food for her household." And then in verse 20, it says, "She opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hand to the needy." And those two verses have kind of been the start of a backbone for me, not only trying to grow food for myself, but attempting to grow more food than I can eat myself in order to help others and provide that for others. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I have made a lot of progress for somebody that didn't used to think that she would be able to grow any kind of plant whatsoever. All I had ever done was kill plants that you were not supposed to be able to kill, but I learned that I just didn't know what I didn't know, and that gardening is something that can be learned if you're willing to do it. And I'm so happy to say that just in a year's time, I have made great progress in being able to grow my own food, and made great steps into learning what it would kind of look like to grow more than I would need in order to share with others. And that is just a blessing straight from heaven. And I'm so excited to continue this journey. But then in Matthew 25, verses 1 through 13, we see the story. It's called the Parable of the 10 Virgins. And it says, "Then the kingdom will be like the 10 virgins who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish and 5 were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them. But the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all became drowsy and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, 'Here's the bridegroom, come out to meet him.' Then all those virgins rose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, 'Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out.' But the wise answered, saying, 'Since there will not be enough for us and for you, go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves.' And while they were going to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. After the other virgins came also, saying, 'Lord, Lord, open to us.' But he answered, 'Truly I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour.'" And I just believe that being prepared, having things on hand in the event of bad things happening, is something that is becoming increasingly important in today's world. We all saw back in 2020 what can happen when things don't go as expected, and but between that and learning to garden and realizing just the fragileness of our food supply and our society, I have really come to a point where I believe that it is extremely valuable for us to make steps toward being prepared, not out of a place of fear, but out of a place of faith, knowing and trusting that where the Lord leads, He will provide, and knowing that we need to be wise stewards of those things that we do bring in, and not just let things sit on a shelf just for whatever. We need to have a system in place and ways, and only bring things into the home that we know we use and that would be good to have a lot on hand if we're not able to get to a store or something like that, but not just having a lot to have a lot. Having a lot in the event of the unexpected and things happening. And most recently with produce not being the most appetizing thing on the grocery store shelves. Just having some kind of food supply at home, having some kind of garden, having something that I'm not having to worry about produce and lettuce and whatnot from the grocery store has been such a blessing. And I'm so glad that I have taken these steps to do this. And I just want to encourage you, if you feel led to start to learn to garden, you don't know what you're doing, you're not alone. And that was me back in before the summer of 2024, or back in 2024, in May of 2025 was when I decided that I wanted to try gardening just to see. I didn't have much success because I was behind the 8 ball as far as starting plants, getting things out, and it was a very hot, dry summer, and it was just extremely difficult. I was able to harvest a few things out of the yard, and that just was that little bit of encouragement I needed to let me know that this was something that I could learn to do. And I came in to 2026 prepared and had educated myself over the last few months on better ways of doing things, on how certain plants did better transplanted versus direct seeding. And I've had much more, like multiples, much more of success this summer, even with a historical drought in the area. And it has been so incredible to see, and that the food tastes so much better knowing where it came from, what went into it, more importantly, what did not. And I'm just so excited about this journey and the way I feel that the Lord has led me here and is preparing me for the hard seasons and for being resilient in times of hardship. And I'm so excited to share this journey with you and let you know that you don't have to do it perfect. It doesn't have to be picture perfect. It doesn't have to look like everybody else. You do what works for you, and sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error, but also knowing what you eat and not storing up something because this is going to store well, but you're not going to eat it, just kind of defeats the purpose. You're just storing up something to store up something. And even if you can work toward not even growing enough for you, but growing enough for others to share, I believe that is just wonderful and great, and I would highly encourage you to do it. But that's just a little bit of my heart and how I'm being a wise steward of the things that have been entrusted to me, preparing for the unexpected, for the times of hardship, not out of a place of fear, not because doomsday is coming, but because I believe that it is part of being a Proverbs 31 woman, of being a wise biblical woman. And I'm so excited that you're on this journey with me, and I look forward to hearing from you. What are some of your favorite things to do to be prepared, and what do you love to grow in your gardens, and what do you love to do with what you've grown in your gardens? How do you preserve your harvest? I'd love to hear from you in the comments, and I'm so happy that you're here. Have a good day. Bye.